I thought nothing could break us. Then I watched them kiss. And when she pulled him into the car, one night changed everything. I don't think I ever had a memory from childhood that didn't include Jake. He wasn't just my best friend, he was the axis everything else turned around. We met when we were 5. He moved in 3 houses down, rode a red bike with one of those obnoxious plastic horns, and knocked on my door like we already had plans. From that day on, we kind of did. Summers were endless loops of bike races, scraped elbows, half-built forts, and dumb bets we took way too seriously. We'd be out from sunrise to the edge of curfew, and then some. Jake always walked in trouble's direction like it owed him something. I was the quieter one, cautious, skinny, observant, with a head full of strategy and overthinking. Where he leapt, I looked. Where I hesitated, he pushed. I didn't mind it. It worked. He brought the chaos, I cleaned it up. We made a good team. His house was loud and messy, full of older siblings and yelling parents. Mine was quiet, always clean, and a little too cold in winter. So we traded. I gave him peace, he gave me color. By the time we hit middle school, we were the kind of duo people talked about. Not because we were cool, not yet, but because we were always together. One of us would start a sentence, and the other would finish it. We had our own language made of half-phrases, eye rolls, and 3-second glances that told a whole story. Jake was fearless, magnetic. He got into fights he shouldn't have won and walked away smiling. He had this energy that made people want to be near him, even when he was being an ass. I think I was the first person who ever told him no, and that's probably why he kept me around. We started football in 7th grade. Jake was born for it, fast, strong, unpredictable. He became a quarterback before he even understood the playbook. I was a wide receiver, then a safety. Nothing flashy. But I studied patterns, I knew where the ball would go before the quarterback did. I didn't care about the spotlight. Jake had that covered. High school hit like a reset button. Suddenly, everything mattered: clothes, parties, cars we didn't have. But nothing changed between us. If anything, our world got bigger, and we took up more space in it. Jake started dating early, girls noticed him, teachers tolerated him, coaches loved him. I didn't date much. I was too careful, too inside my own head. But I watched. I saw what Jake missed. Who was genuine? Who was using him? Who smiled too wide when he wasn't looking? I never told him. It wasn't my place. We had dreams, big ones. College in the city, maybe the same school, business or sports management. A place with late-night diners and crappy apartments, and neon signs. A future we built together. We talked about it all the time. Jake would be the guy everyone knew, and I'd be the guy keeping it all together in the background. That was okay with me. It was more than okay, it was home. And for a long time, I thought nothing could ever touch that. Not distance. Not girls. Not growing up. But the truth is, sometimes the thing that breaks everything comes from right inside the circle. And by the time you see the crack, it's already split you down the middle. High school made us bigger. Louder. Sharper around the edges. We walked those hallways like we owned them. 2 kids from the same street, now captains of the same ship. Jake hit the ground running sophomore year. Quarterback by October, dating the head cheerleader by November. People noticed him everywhere he went. Teachers gave him second chances he didn't deserve, and girls smiled like they already knew the answer. I wasn't in his shadow, not exactly. I was just a different kind of visible. My grades were top tier, my reputation clean. I wasn't flashy, but I was respected. Coaches liked me because I listened. Teachers liked me because I asked the right questions. And when people realized I was always at Jake's side, they smiled a little longer. But I wasn't looking for any of that. Not really. I was watching one girl. Her name was Lauren. She wasn't the loudest or the most dramatic. She wasn't even technically in the popular crowd. She was a cheerleader, yes, but not the queen bee type. She was kind in that quiet way that made you want to sit closer just to hear her talk. She had this half smile that made it seem like she knew more than she let on. I noticed her long before she noticed me. For weeks, I didn't say anything. Then Jake elbowed me at lunch and said, You've been staring at that girl like she's the last honest person on earth. Go talk to her. So I did. And somehow, she liked me back. We started slow. Walks after practice. Notes slipped into lockers. The kind of stuff you only do once in your life because nothing ever feels that fragile again. And with Jake dating Claire, the literal poster girl of the school, it felt like some perfect double image. Like we were the guys on movie posters. The golden friends with golden girls. Of course it wasn't that simple. Nothing ever is. Jake's relationship with Claire was fire and gasoline. Passionate, loud, off and on. They'd kiss like no one else existed and fight like they were trying to make sure everyone knew. But Jake loved hard, and when he was in, he was all in. Lauren was the opposite. Steady. Soft. She made me feel seen. Not like Jake's best friend. Not like a backup. Just me. For the first time, I thought I could be the center of someone's world. And maybe that's why I didn't notice the cracks starting to form. Not in Lauren. Not in Jake. Not even in me. Because when everything feels like a dream, the last thing you want is to wake up and realize how close you are to the edge. Senior year moved fast. Practices, parties, college talks, everyone pretending they knew who they were about to become. Jake and I were still tight, still the same duo in the eyes of most people, but something had shifted. Nothing dramatic. Just small silences that hadn't been there before. Missed calls. Half-finished sentences. He started going quiet during long car rides, like something heavy was sitting on his chest. Claire had broken up with him again, this time, maybe for good. She'd found someone older, or smarter, or just tired of Jake's chaos. He didn't talk about it. Just shrugged and said, "It was coming." But I could tell he was bleeding under the surface. Lauren and I were still together. 9 months in. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. She'd become part of my routines, part of the way I pictured the future. Sometimes we talked about college towns, imagined little apartments with second-hand couches and cereal at midnight. Jake was supposed to be part of that picture too. We made a pact freshman year, same city, same college, no matter what. Then he started talking about maybe taking a gap year. Maybe traveling. Maybe just working. "I'm not built for sitting in lecture halls," he said one night, sprawled across the hood of my car. "I need space. I need something else." I asked him what he meant. He just shook his head. "Forget it." I didn't push. I never did. And maybe that was the mistake. Then came prom week. Claire showed up with a new guy. Jake got drunk 2 nights in a row. I offered to stay in with him Friday, but he said no. "You've got Lauren," he said. "Go be good at something for once." He laughed when he said it, but it landed wrong. Saturday was prom. Everyone cleaned up nice. Tuxes and hairspray and that sense of everything ending and beginning at once. Lauren looked beautiful. She wore navy blue, the kind of color that makes other people turn their heads. We danced. We kissed. And then, at some point, she disappeared. Said she was going to the bathroom. Didn't come back. I looked for her for almost an hour. Checked the punch table, the bathrooms, the hallway outside. Found Claire instead, crying in a stairwell, mascara streaked. I asked what happened. She said Jake yelled at her in the parking lot. Threw a drink. Said she broke something in him. Lauren had been the one to find her, she said. Had hugged her, told her she didn't deserve that. I nodded, not really understanding. Claire said Lauren told her she'd go find Jake, figure out what the hell he was doing. She was really sweet about it. Claire added. "I didn't know you two were so serious." I remember blinking at that. My ears ringing. And then I went looking again. Out to the parking lot. Past the bleachers. That's where I saw them. Jake leaning against his car. Lauren standing close. Too close. Her hands slid up his chest. His head tilted. And then they kissed. Not a mistake, not a hesitation, just two people who forgot the world had witnesses. I froze. A sound got stuck in my throat. I took a step back, but before I could turn away, she took his hand and led him to the back seat of his car. The door opened. He followed. That's when I walked away. Quiet. Cold. Jacket forgotten? Just my hands shaking and my world narrowing into a tunnel I never wanted to walk through. I didn't run. I didn't scream. I just disappeared. I didn't go home that night. I didn't even think about it. I walked until the sky went from black to gray and the streetlights blinked off one by one. The image kept looping in my head, her hand on his chest, their kiss, the way she pulled him into the backseat like I'd never existed. It didn't feel like heartbreak. It felt like a piece of my foundation cracked clean through. Around 7 a.m., I texted my parents. I need to get out of town for a while. I'm okay. Please don't worry. Then I called my Uncle Ron. He answered on the second ring. I said, "Can I come stay with you?" He said, "Which bus stop?" No questions. No drama. Just a place to land. I left that afternoon. My parents knew the real reason. I told them. I don't think they forgave her or him, but they respected my silence. Uncle Ron lived 2 towns over, in a ranch-style house with tools hanging in the garage like trophies. The first night, he handed me a set of keys and said, "You've got 2 weeks to feel sorry for yourself. After that, I'll expect you to start moving forward." The man was blunt, but he meant well. And I needed that more than sympathy. Within days, he lined me up with a job at a hardware store. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave me structure. I stocked shelves, learned to use tools I'd only ever seen in my dad's garage, and for the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. After a couple months, I picked up a second job at a diner bussing tables. I moved out 6 months later, into a 1-bedroom above a closed video rental with a broken heater and peeling linoleum. But it was mine. I enrolled in night classes at a local community college. Started chasing a degree in information systems. I was never the smartest guy in the room, but I outworked everyone. I stayed late. I read twice what was assigned. I didn't look back. Jake texted a few times during that first year. I never replied. I didn't block him either. Just let the silence answer for me. Lauren only texted once. "I'm sorry." I deleted it. By year 3, I transferred into a state university. Got a small scholarship, a work-study job, and moved into student housing. I picked up freelance projects online, wrote code in between classes, and finally landed an internship that turned into a full-time offer. The rest happened slowly. I built a life. A quiet one. There were relationships, mostly short, mostly surface level. I didn't know how to open the door all the way. Until Elise. She was a client at first, ran operations at a growing company that needed a system overhaul. I met her in a briefing, and she corrected something I said mid-sentence. I should have been annoyed. Instead, I was impressed. She was fast-talking, sharp-eyed, and had a laugh that made people glance over just to catch the echo. The first time we got coffee, I forgot to add sugar and drank it bitter just to seem unfazed. The second time, she noticed. "You hate it like that," she said. "Next one's on me." There wasn't a third time. We just kept going. Weekends blurred into shared breakfasts, dumb inside jokes, a standing rule that whoever was up first made pancakes, no questions asked. She met the version of me that didn't need to prove anything. And she stayed. When I told her about my past, I didn't give her the full reel. Just the outline. A friend, a girl, a parking lot, a silence that never got filled. She didn't ask for more. Just squeezed my hand and said, "If you ever want to make peace with it, I'll be here when you come back." We got married 2 years later. Elise gave birth to our daughter 18 months after that. She came early, loud, and full of personality. Parenthood hit like a train, but we found rhythm in the chaos. Sleep-deprived teamwork. Grocery runs turned into dates. Life wasn't shiny, but it was ours. And then, just when we thought we had it figured out, we found out Elise was pregnant again. It felt sudden but right. We'd been here before. We knew what it took. 2 kids. A steady life. A future that didn't scare me anymore. Then came the call. My boss called me into his office with that look managers get when they're about to say something exciting that might ruin your week. "We're opening a new office," he said. "Need someone experienced to set it up, train the team, lay the groundwork." I nodded. Where? He said the name of my hometown. I laughed. You're kidding. He wasn't. Said it'd only be for a few months. Temporary. Low pressure. You're the best guy for this, he said. That night I told Elise. I thought she'd shut it down before I could finish the sentence. Instead, she tilted her head, eyes soft. You think you're ready? I don't know, I admitted. It's been 10 years. She touched her stomach. Maybe it's time. Time for what? I asked. To find out, she said. If it's still a wound, or just a scar. Coming back was weirder than I expected. Nothing had changed, and everything had. The streets were the same, but smaller. The buildings had the same names, just new signs. The gas station where Jake and I used to sneak sodas was now a vape shop. The high school had a fresh coat of paint, but the same broken flagpole. I rented a small house on the edge of town, just far enough to feel separate but close enough for the commute. Elise and our daughter stayed behind for now. She was 7 months along, and we agreed it'd be better if I got things set up first. Every evening we FaceTimed. Every morning she texted a photo of our daughter making silly faces at breakfast. It kept me grounded. The office was fine. Small team, mostly new hires. I trained them, set up workflows, fixed bugs in a system too new to be broken. I stayed busy. Avoided downtown. Didn't go near the high school. Kept to my route, house, office, grocery, house. For the first few weeks, it worked. I could pretend I was just another transplant here on contract. Until I ran into Mrs. Parnell, our old English teacher, at the store. She looked older, but her voice hadn't changed. Nick Keller? She said, halfway between shock and delight. I thought you'd vanished off the face of the earth. I smiled politely. Felt like it some days. She told me Jake was still in town, managing a small business. Married. You probably know who, she added, with a pointed look. I didn't flinch. I just nodded. She invited me to a school fundraiser. I declined. She gave me her number anyway. After that, it started unraveling. I saw a mutual friend at a coffee shop. Then another at the gym. Small town gravity. People started recognizing me. One evening, I went to pick up dinner and heard my name. A voice I hadn't heard in 10 years. Nick? I turned around. And there he was. Jake. He looked older. Less golden. His hair a little thinner, eyes a little heavier. But still him. Still Jake. He didn't smile. He looked like he didn't believe I was real. You're really back, he said. I nodded. Just for work. He hesitated. Do you have 5 minutes? I wanted to say no. I really did. But something in his voice, lower, quieter, like someone who finally ran out of ways to pretend, made me pause. 5 minutes, I said. We sat outside the diner. He didn't order anything. Just stared at his hands for a while. Then he said it. I didn't know what happened that night. Not at first. I stayed silent. I was drunk. Angry. Claire had just trashed me in front of half the school. I don't even remember Lauren showing up. I just remember waking up with a headache and a knot in my gut. He looked up at me. When I found out, I tried to reach you. I went to your house. Called. Texted. Your dad told me you were staying at your grandma's. I wasn't, I said flatly. I know that now. He rubbed his palms against his jeans. She told me a week later. About what happened. That she'd gone looking for me, that you saw us. I didn't know, Nick. I swear I didn't know until it was too late. I stared at him. The boy who used to steal fries off my tray. The one who pushed me to ask Lauren out in the first place. The one who said we'd be old men still giving each other crap about the same inside jokes. You married her, I said. It wasn't a question. He nodded. She got pregnant. I didn't know what else to do. I looked away. Across the street, a kid was riding a scooter too fast down a hill, yelling like he had wings. I'm not angry anymore, I said. Not at you. He blinked. You're not? No. But I can't be your friend either. He nodded slowly. I figured. Too much happened, I added. And I have a life now. A real one. A good one. He sat with that for a minute. Then he said, "You look like someone who figured himself out." I stood. Took me long enough. I left before he could say anything else. My chest felt hollow, but not heavy. For the first time, the memory didn't burn. It just existed. Part of the map, not the wound. The plane landed just after dark. The airport was quiet in that strange way they are late at night, bright, sterile, full of tired footsteps and cheap coffee smells. I walked straight past baggage claim. I only had a backpack. I packed light going in, and somehow, I came back even lighter. Elise was waiting outside in the car. I spotted her before she saw me, hair pulled up, hoodie zipped, hands on the wheel like she hadn't moved in 20 minutes. I tapped on the window. She turned, and her whole face changed. Not a dramatic smile. Just something small and warm and familiar. "Hey," she said. "Hey," I answered. I got in. She didn't ask right away. She just drove, one hand on the wheel, one resting on her belly. Our daughter was asleep in the back seat, head tilted, lips slightly open, clutching a stuffed raccoon that had somehow survived juice stains and airport floors. The house felt smaller after being gone. Or maybe just more full. It smelled like cinnamon and laundry and home. Elise put our daughter to bed while I stood in the hallway, just breathing. Letting the walls settle around me again. Later, we sat on the couch. She tucked her feet under her, and I leaned into the corner. Neither of us turned on the TV. "How was it?" she asked softly. I took a moment. "Hard," I said. "But I didn't leave anything unfinished." She looked at me like she was reading beneath the words. "Did you see him?" "Yeah." "Her?" I nodded once. That was enough. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "I think I finally am." She reached out, took my hand. We didn't speak for a while. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. Just quiet. Safe. I watched her thumb trace over my knuckles like she was drawing a map she already knew by heart. Upstairs, our daughter stirred once and went quiet again. I closed my eyes. I was tired but not worn down. Not empty. Just home. The sun came in slow, through half-open blinds, touching the edge of the crib and the mess of toys we hadn't picked up last night. I woke up to tiny footsteps on the hardwood. Then the weight of a toddler knee landing squarely on my ribs. "Up," she said, like there was no other option. Elise groaned, half asleep. I peeled myself off the mattress, lifted our daughter into the air like a sleepy airplane, and made my way downstairs. Pancakes. Always pancakes. Not because we were good at making them, but because we had a rhythm. She sat at the counter, waving a plastic spoon like a magic wand, while I flipped batter and pretended not to burn anything. When Elise joined us, hair messy, hand on her back, belly leading the way, I kissed her forehead and poured her coffee. It was domestic. Simple. Real. After breakfast, Elise went back upstairs to rest, and I sat on the balcony while our daughter watched cartoons with the raccoon still glued to her side. The morning air was soft. The kind that makes you want to do nothing and everything all at once. My phone buzzed. One new message. From Jake. I didn't open it. Just stared at the screen for a minute. Then I locked it. I didn't delete it. I didn't respond. I just let it sit there. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. But I also wasn't reaching back. Some bridges aren't meant to be crossed again. Some stories are better closed. Not torn out. Not burned. Just turned over gently and left on the shelf. I looked down at the street, the neighbor walking his dog, the world moving without needing to know what I'd left behind. Inside, my daughter squealed at something on TV. I stood, stretched, and went back in. There was nothing to run from. Not anymore. Subscribe, hit the like button, and explore more fascinating stories.